Excited to play against USC, especially at home. I think our players always look forward to playing against the teams from Southern California. I think it's always a big game for us. It's a Joe Roth game. So we had an opportunity to talk to our players a little bit about what Joe Roth means to Cal and to specifically our football program and to all of us. And it was a great message to be able to talk to our players about and just Joe's resilience and, unselfishness. It's a really remarkable story and, a story that I think probably needs, a lot of Cal people know about it, but I think it's one of those stories that everybody needs to know about. Just again, because he exemplified everything that was, great about college football and specifically Cal, and I think it's a great teaching message for our young players. So we talked about that yesterday in the team meeting, and so I think this week has added emphasis because of that. And as I said, a lot of these, a lot of our players are from Southern California and grew up competing against USC's players, and so it's it's a game that I know our guys are excited about. USC's a good football team, especially they're playing especially well here the last couple of weeks. I think they've kind of found their identity a little bit, and I think they're I think they're playing at a very high level. It seemed like they're very motivated. I think offensively they're kind of a typical USC offensive football team. They do a good job running the football and then really capitalize on the play action pass and working the ball down the field. I think getting Marquise Lee back is obviously a big thing for them. He was very productive last week, and I'm sure he'll be a big part of the game plan this week. Defensively, I think they're playing very fast. When you turn the film on, first thing you notice is the team speed defensively. Their defensive front shows up a lot. I mean, very good pass rushers. I think it's certainly the strength of their defense is their front. They play hard. They use their hands very well. Get off blocks probably as well as anybody you'll see. And I think they got a good football team. And then they play hard on special teams. They're well coached. Play very fast. Run the ball well. Play physical. Just kind of what you would expect from a USC football team. Very talented. A good team.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take questions for Sonny. Please ask for the microphone.
Can you compare their defense, Sonny, to others you've seen in terms of their style and their talent?
Yeah, they're it's a little different. It's kind of they're an odd defense based out of an odd front, but they play as much even as they do odd. I mean, it's very versatile in how they play. I mean, their guys stand up, but they're really truly defensive ends with two down linemen. Excuse me. As I said, they penetrate a lot on the front. The guys are penetrators, get upfield, try to disrupt the run game by penetrating, do a good job rushing the passer. They play fast, play a lot of man coverage on the back end. And so what happens a lot of times is when you play against man teams and you've seen a lot of zone teams, to your quarterback, everybody looks covered. Because when you play against zone teams, guys can settle in zones and you see some grass and separation. And then when you transition to playing a team that plays a little bit more man coverage, there's a defender that's always there. And so as a result, guys look more covered. And I think sometimes your quarterback's a little bit inclined to hold on to the football, and that plays into their hand because they're a very good pass rushing team. And so I think that's the strength of their defense. And again, they're good on the back end. I mean, they're athletic. They tackle well. They're physical.
Does that give you concerns about Jared dealing?
Yeah, sure it does. Yeah, I think. Excuse me. Obviously we've given up our share of sacks this year and hits on the quarterback, and so. When you're playing against a team that has that kind of front, and that's been a little bit of a weakness for you, it's certainly concerning.
How much have they changed much what they do with the coaching change, or is it a matter of just executing better?
Excuse me. Yeah, they've changed. Their style's a little bit different. I mean, they it's funny. watch all the film this year, and then I wanted to go back and watch a little bit of last year's tape just to look at the personnel and see how much crossover there was in the personnel. So I watched the UCLA-USC game last year, and what they were doing toward the end of the year, quite frankly, it's not that much different than what they were doing now in a lot of ways. I mean, a little bit more man coverage. Front was a little different, and some of the stunts and some of the things they did up front were different. But yeah, it's a new style of defense, and they're playing a very aggressive style. Blitzing, they'll blitz. They're constantly moving their front around, and and as I said, they're good at penetrating. And so when you penetrate a lot, that creates problems in the run game and obviously the passing game as well.
Okay, any further questions?
You talk about a couple of your guys who've been out for a long, long period.
Yeah.
Nick Forbes, you've already said he's not going to play again this year. Given his back situation, is there some chance he won't be back next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance. We're certainly hopeful that he will be. As we've talked about before, guys respond differently to those type of injuries, and every one of those back injuries is pretty unique, and kind of the pain that people feel and what they're comfortable working through, and all the different things are different for everybody. I had a back injury, and it used to kill me, and it was painful to do anything, and and other people respond to it a little better than others, and so it's been hard for Nick. I know he really wants to play. He's frustrated, but he just hasn't. At that linebacker spot, I mean, you're gonna get hit, 50 times during the course of a game, and right now it's painful for him to take on those collisions and have those collisions, and unfortunately at that particular spot, that's what you have. You have a lot of collisions, and so I think, if Nick was a safety or a corner or someplace else, I think he would have been able to maybe work through the injury a little bit easier than he has been. But it's a tough injury to work through as a linebacker. And we're hopeful we'll have him back next year. He's he's a good kid. He's a good player. I think he's a guy that has obviously been very productive in the past, and we do want him to get well. I mean, that's the most important thing. You want him to be able to have a great quality of life outside of football, and you worry about that sometimes with back injuries. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've got a nagging cough here.
I was talking with Bryce yesterday, and he said that breaking that one long punt return was helpful not just to him and his confidence, but to the team's confidence in calling punt returns. He said that normally you guys are trying to block as opposed to setting up a return. Can you talk about?
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. I mean, we're probably a team that's a third of the time a block team. Probably end up being a safe team about a third of a time, and a return team about a third of a time, based on, that varies from game to game. It was good to see him get out. The disappointing thing was we had a penalty, and he got called back. It ended up being a 40-yard penalty for us and a big change in momentum and field position. But it's good to see him get out. I mean, he's a guy that can make some things happen in the punt return game. I think he is. I think he's one of those guys that when he gets his hand on the ball, something good has a tendency to happen. And so we got to figure out ways to get him the ball. And I think we've got to do a better job blocking on punt returns, because he's certainly capable. And when he has some alleys to run in, then he can do some good things with the ball.
Can you talk about the job that Orgeron's done at USC coming in the middle of the season?
Yeah, I think he's, I think he's done a nice job. I think sometimes, a team, it's always difficult going through a coaching change, but I think sometimes, it has a tendency to revitalize a team sometimes, and I think that's what's happened a little bit with USC. That they seem to be playing differently now. I think that I think it's been, it's just hard. I mean, it's hard when a guy loses his job in the middle of the season. I mean, that's a hard thing for a team to go through. And I think sometimes, teams either, it provides a spark sometimes, and other times it doesn't. And it seems to, in this case, have provided a little bit of a spark. And I think he's done a good job with the football team. I think the players like him, seem to, and and as I said, certainly their level of play is different.
Okay, any further questions, Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
You give us your best analysis of what you think will happen Thursday at Stanford.
Oh man, that's a good question. It'll be a heck of a ball game. It's two good football teams, two contrasting styles. You're always interested in games, and if you like football, you like to see the contrasting style games. So it'll be fun to watch. It's one of those ones I'm glad I get a chance to watch it on Thursday night. Like I said, two totally different approaches to the game, but two teams that are both good fundamentally, have good talent, well coached, play physical. All the stuff that makes teams good. Both those teams possess those characteristics. They do it different ways. Their defense is actually pretty similar in a lot of ways. The style of defense they play. But obviously the two contrasting styles are offensively. I think it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun. We've played Oregon, and so I kind of know a little bit more about them and a little more familiar with that group. But I think it'll be a heck of a ball game. Yeah, no predictions for me. Yeah, we got our hands full worrying about ourselves.
Yeah, Coach, without asking you to address kind of the elephant in the room, I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about the filling out process this season in terms of laying out a new set of disciplinary standards. And
yeah, I think it's been very positive. I mean, I think our players are. I think we've been crystal clear in our expectations for our players. Both academically and behavior off the field, and so I'm really proud of our record and. When it comes to improving our academic situation, again, we've talked about. I can't share specific numbers with you, but there'll be great academic news in the spring in regards to APR, and as I said, the success we've had with the highest GPA in the spring semester in the last 5 years, and the summer in 10 years, I think speaks highly about what we're trying to get accomplished within our program. And I think the biggest thing you have to look at is, obviously we've had a disappointing season, but our kids go out there and they play hard every Saturday, and I think that's a character that speaks to their character and what kind of kids they are in our program. And, I love all our kids. I mean, they make mistakes. I mean, they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. I mean, they're gonna make some mistakes from time to time. But I trust their intentions. I believe, that they're good kids and have good hearts and understand what representing the University of California at Berkeley is all about, about doing things the right way, both on and off the field. So, like I said, I couldn't feel more strongly about our guys.
Again, sort of to dance around that a little bit, but could you look at the situation with the Miami Dolphins? What do you make of that and sort of the hazing stuff that goes on?
Yeah, that's one thing that, it's been a, it's happened. It's kind of been a football thing that we don't tolerate at all. I mean, I think it was one of the traditions when we got here that the freshmen would pick up the seniors' trays and take their trash and all that. And that's something we ended immediately. I mean, we're all in this thing together. Every player on our team, regardless of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, starter, backup, whatever. They're all teammates, and they all deserve to be treated with the same amount of respect. And so that's something that we, something we don't put up with or tolerate at all. And I think that's, I think that's one of the dinosaurs that's dying off in football. For some reason, I think that's always been said, oh, that's just part of the football culture, and it's not. And I think it's going away. And I think that's, there's still issues from time to time, but I think overall, I think people are realizing that, the old, pranks they used to pay on the rookies and all that kind of stuff, really don't help build a team. They divide it more than they build it.